Okay, now, given that we're kind of starting out and stuff like that, you need to accept that there's quite a bit of talking and a few things that need to be explained. It may not seem very relevant, but of course, all these things are very fundamental and important to know. Obviously, I wouldn't spend the time telling you all of this if it wasn't very, kind of important. So, as the courses progress, you'll find that there's less talking and much more playing because you will know all these basic fundamental things, okay? I'm not going to tell you anything you don't need to know. That's the thing to bear in mind. Now, just going to take a moment to explain to you about the left and the right hand. Although it may be very apparent to you what they do and everything else, I'm just going to clarify that a little bit more. Now, obviously your left hand is responsible for fretting all the notes and playing chords and stuff like that, okay? But outside of that, it doesn't really do a whole lot, okay? You're just fretting the chords and things and changing. So that's what you're looking to do with your left hand. You're looking to put all your energies into A, playing the chord correctly, and B, it's sounding nicely, and C, being able to change around a group of chords. Okay? That is what our left hand is going to be concentrating on at the beginning stages of learning the guitar. As you become more advanced, you can actually damp with the left hand, and that just means kind of stop the strings from sounding, okay? We'll be looking at that in more detail, but just so you know, that is something a little bit more advanced that we'll look at later on. Now, the right hand is responsible for a great deal, really, okay? It can, in a sense, make or break a song. So, it's responsible for the timing and the feel. So there's a lot resting on this right hand being right and correct, okay? And by following these simple steps that we're looking at along the way, then that will ensure that you're developing this right hand gradually, not too quickly, not too slowly, but at a reasonable pace, okay? Because, as I say, it's integral in your learning. Okay, it can really make the difference between a good guitarist and somebody who's kind of average. So this right hand needs some practice. Okay. Now, once you've got these chords flowing a little bit more easily and stuff like that, rather than just playing, just downstrokes, very basic, we can start mixing this up a little bit so it becomes a bit more interesting. So it might be. So we can just do things a little bit more interesting, essentially, okay? Now, a good way that I've found with the kind of pupils that I teach and stuff like that sometimes is to spend a little bit of time, okay? Just dampen the strings with this left hand. And by that, I just mean rest your fingers across all of the strings. It doesn't matter. It could just be like that. It could just be like that. It doesn't really matter. But the sound you're aiming for is no sound, essentially. Just the sound of this right hand hitting the strings, yeah? But this is a good way to work on rhythms and strumming patterns, okay? So going back to our original idea was just... Okay, very simple. Now, this gives us an opportunity to kind of try different rhythms. So we might hear something in our mind that we'd like to try and emulate, if you like. And a good way is to kind of, as I say, dampen these strings and just... Okay, and then once you've kind of worked a rhythm in your mind, then you can fret this left hand and play. Okay, so the reason I show you that is that you can kind of more clearly hear. So spend a little bit of time practicing different strumming patterns, yeah? It doesn't really matter what they are, it could just be. But again, I would suggest that you count, because counting is everything. I know there's a lot to concentrate on at this stage, but never overlook the counting, okay? Because it's only going to be something you'll have to return to if you do. It's quite a common problem that I have with some of the students that I teach, that they can play chords and change chords and things like that, but the sense of timing isn't always there. So, you know, it's important to dedicate a little bit of time to that as well.